Afternoon to all of our Jobs for Michigan's graduates, friends, family, and supporters, and welcome to the 2021 Annual Career Development Conference Keynote Speaker event. My name is Kristen Harrington, and I have the distinct pleasure of serving as the Executive Director for Youth Solutions, the parent organization for Jobs for Michigan's graduates programming that is inspiring and connecting young people to achieve a future beyond imagination. I would like to point out that the event is being recorded, and importantly, there will be a prize drawing at the end of today's session for a brand new tablet. So to all of our Jobs for Michigan's graduate students who are on today, if you would like to participate in the prize drawing, you'll find a link in the chat box. Please click on the link to enter in your name and email address. Additionally, stay tuned after our keynote speaker as we announce our 2021 JMG Youth of the Year. Youth Solutions has come a long way since its first career development conference, and this year, of course, looks a little different as we come together virtually for our first ever virtual CDC event. However, the purpose remains the same as we're here to acknowledge and celebrate the accomplishments of our Jobs for Michigan's graduates youth. Considering everything that's gone on in our world over the past year, it's only fitting that today's keynote speaker is someone who has made it his life's mission to empower everyone across the globe to take a stand when they witness injustice, no matter how small or large. He's a motivational speaker, trilingual poet, TV talk show host, rapper, and a professor of cross-cultural communications at American University. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Omekongo Dibinga. Welcome, Dr. Dibinga.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very honored to be here and share some words. And I'm already getting applause on Zoom. I appreciate that. I feel extra special now. As it was mentioned in the bio, I am a rapper and spoken word artist. And so I would like to start off fittingly like that. When I was young, they used to call me a monster, African, bushman, monkey, I was bothered. Used to pick on my clothes. I didn't have Nikes. I didn't have nice bikes, other fancy things. I didn't have much loot, no savings, no trust fund. So walking up my house every day was not fun. Had no heat in the winter, no AC in the hot sun. Next to my bed was rats, leftovers, they got some. Used to wonder why me while seeing on TV, dudes with Beamers, Jaguars, of course Mercedes. Being broke as a kid used to drive me crazy. Hearing the guns at night, I couldn't sleep like a baby, but now I'll make it plain. I'm writing this on a plane on my way to Michigan for a show. What changed? Well, I stopped making excuses for myself, took blame. You take control of your life and you can do the same. Don't matter, you've been abused, grew up with no parents. You dealt with booze, dealt with drugs, wheelchair ramped it. Maybe you grew up poor in a house, not a home. Maybe mom was an addict, papa rolling stone. What you got to see is life is just testing you out to see if you'll hurt yourself. Take the easy route to see if you'll throw the towel and surrender your soul to a life of crime, a life of loss, life out of control. But if you take a step back, think twice, get some goals. If you focus on your dreams and not your nightmares, you'll see your life get better with your new mindset. Get new experiences that you won't regret. I took control of my life. Now I travel the globe. I met Clinton, Obama, Maya Angelou. I might be the next man on the cover of O. You take control of your destiny, you never know. I've been on BET, BBC, CNN. I've been to almost 30 countries, spoke before millions. Now they don't call me a monster unless I'm beasting the flow. They don't call me nothing but the goat at a show. So what can you do if you focus on great? More than me, probably, if you concentrate. Get the haters out your life, stop lifting dead weight, and listen to no one who ever said wait. You take control of your dreams and develop yourself. If you eat the right foods and develop your health, you'll live the life of your dreams. Trust me, you'll see, because you have nothing but greatness in your destiny. All right. Well, that's how I like to start things off properly when I have an opportunity to speak with an organization such as this. And when I say an organization such as this, and thank you, Valerie, I received it. I appreciate you. I see you in the chat. Appreciate you. Thank you. More Valeries in the world. So when I say an organization like this and an event like this, I don't consider what I'm going to be sharing with you today a speech. I don't consider what I'm going to be talking to you all today to be a keynote speech as it's been defined, because when I'm around what you all are doing right now with Jobs for Michigan, this is different for me. It's a lot more personal for me. And I feel like in this space, I am amongst my people. And when I say my people, it has nothing to do with what your, racial or religious or any type of background is. When I say my people, I mean young adults who are hungry to live their best lives, young adults who are focused on bringing out their greatness. They say that we're all born with greatness in us, but we're not destined for greatness. Too many of us let it fizzle out. And when I think about a program like this, a program that has produced almost 20,000 graduates with the type of mission that you have, it really brings me back to my own experiences and my own life. And I know that if it wasn't for a similar program like this, where I was from, which I'm going to tell you about shortly, I wouldn't be able to be speaking to you now. And so, number one, I really want to just celebrate all of you from the staff, from the leadership, but most importantly, all of you young people, because look, at the end of the day, you have a choice to make. You chose to be involved in this program. It wasn't like somebody drafted you and said, you got to do this. You have to, maybe some people recommended it to you. Maybe somebody said, check this out. Maybe somebody brought you to the meeting, signed you up for the listserv. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to the day in, the day out, becoming a graduate, like the Juwans, the Cheyennes, and Kyras of the world, when it comes to that, you made that choice. When it comes to doing the work like Callista's doing, saying that, I'm excelling in a field that was primarily for men in the welding industry, that's a choice that you made. And so you have to be commended for that. And for me, it's extremely important that you understand that, because we live in a society where people want to try to take you away from your power. People want to take you away from your greatness. They want to make you think that you're not able to be as great as you can be because of your circumstances. But you have to remember that if you are committed, if you're focused, your circumstances don't define you. You define your circumstances. And so I want to talk about that today. We'll get into some questions and answers later, and people may have questions. You can put them in the chat. We'll get to those a little bit later as well. But let's talk about the importance of defining your circumstances. For me, as you could tell from my name, Ome Congo, I was born in a very far away place called Boston, Massachusetts. Well, it's far from Michigan. I know what y'all thinking, maybe that's like Congolese or Ghanaian or something like that. And it's not like you would be wrong. I'm just saying that's not where I was born. But my parents were born in Congo, and that's where my name comes from. Now, for me, I had three real challenges growing up that could have easily if I gave in to any one of them, it would have prevented me from doing things like, meeting Jay-Z and writing books and meeting people like Obama and traveling the world and being to almost 30 countries and publishing 8 books and all that other type of stuff we'll get to a little bit later, and being a professor and writing a book on Jay-Z, actually. There were 3 things, what we will call in baseball 3 strikes. And my experiences may not be your experiences, but the process and how you overcome them and how you work to define them are the same. So one of the first strikes I had growing up against me was that I didn't grow up with a lot of money. I don't know what your experiences are like, but I do know that y'all are in Michigan and y'all know what it's like to be cold. That's real. And I'm from the Northeast, and our winters, I know y'all have it worse than us as it relates to that, but they got pretty cold in Boston. But see, growing up without a lot of money, I grew up at a time where in my household, we often didn't have heat in our house during the coldest of winter months. We would have to cover ourselves with a blanket in order to keep ourselves warm. I have 8 brothers and sisters, and we would have to surround ourselves to cover ourselves to keep warm. We often didn't have electricity or money, didn't have the money to fix the pipes when they froze. So sometimes we would have to use what water we could get to boil water if we could get the stove working, to make sure that we were able to take our showers. And like, it was a real economic challenge, which made me feel like I didn't really belong here. Like I wasn't expected to do great things. And so that was my first challenge, having to share clothes with my siblings at school and the like. And of course, that led to my second challenge, the intense amount of bullying that I had to deal with when I went to school because of my name and my external appearance. I didn't have a lot of loot, as I said in the poem, which is just called growing up. And so for me, when I would go to school, people would make fun of our clothes, but they would also make fun of my culture. We were bullied heavily because of our culture. So because, as you can hear, I don't have what you would call a stereotypical African accent, right? But just hearing my name was enough for people to feel like they could bully me. And I got it from everybody, not just my fellow classmates. I got it from teachers. I got it from people in the neighborhood, so-called friends and the like. People would hear my name and they would call me things like African bush boogie or African booty scratcher. And people who thought like Haiti was in Africa would call me like a Haitian butt scratcher. They didn't do well in geography class, but they still teach geography anymore. But they didn't do that well, but they thought they were being cool. They thought they were showing a little bit of class. They didn't really have much class. And so what I would do, like maybe some of y'all have done, maybe some of you all were afraid to speak Spanish around certain people. Maybe you were afraid to mention that you're a Muslim around certain people. Maybe you were afraid to know that, to let people know that you don't eat a particular food because of your religious beliefs, because you, like me, you grew up thinking that you were meant to blend in. And then at some point when you got down with a great programs like Jobs for Michigan, you realized that you were actually meant to stand out, and things started to change. But let's go back to those young times, right? So that was my second strike, not growing up with a lot, being disrespected because of my name and my bullying. See, I was named after somebody who saved my grandfather's life as a child. My full name can't fit on Twitter. Well, maybe it can now, because I think they have like 180 characters. But my full name is Ome Kongo Luhaka wa Dibinga Wanga Kakese Washington Casa. But because people were beating me up by trying to exert who I am, I was just like, you know what? Forget all that history. I can just call me, y'all can just call me O. I just want to blend in. I just don't want to be disrespected. I just want to be part of the crowd. I'm going to tell you a little bit later about what some of that crowd is doing that I was trying to be part of. You're meant to stand out. The third strike I had growing up against me was that I grew up at a time of what was affectionately called the crack epidemic, okay? Now, the crack epidemic was similar to the opioid epidemic that many places are experiencing, but there were several differences, but generally speaking, when we're talking about the issues relating to addiction and the like, there are a lot of similarities. However, during the crack epidemic, it was primarily affecting Black and brown communities. And back then the solution was, no treatment, no therapy, no beds or anything, lock them up, throw away the key. And crime and gang violence and issues with police and the like was so intense that it was literally predicted that if you were Black, you would be dead or incarcerated before the age of 25. People would talk about that on the news. I would see people walking around with T-shirts saying Black men endangered species. They were talking about us like we were, rhinos or bald eagles or something like that. And the level of violence, seeing people I know get killed, seeing people I know get incarcerated, seeing the lack of resources dry up in my community. People would say the only way to get out the hood are through drugs or music or athletics, right? And people who couldn't go towards those last two, some went towards that drug route as well. But I didn't do that because, as I told you all before, I had a choice. Just like you have a choice, like you have a choice to be here right now. And so for me, my choice was very simple. I could get the guns. They were easy to get. I could get involved in that whole lifestyle. But I knew that that would lead me to an early grave, as I saw with other people in my neighborhood. So I had the choice. I could pick up the guns and the knives, or I could pick up the pen and the pad. And so I decided to pick up the pen and the pad, and I decided to write about my frustrations. I decided to put myself in situations where I can express who I am. I started reading people like Maya Angelou and Nikki Giovanni and hearing them talk about their lives, and they empowered me to be strong in terms of who I was. And so the more I wrote, I learned a couple of things. Number one, I got a little bit of a talent as it relates to this thing called writing. And we're going to talk about you building out your talents a little bit later as well. And then two, the more I spoke, the more the bullying started to stop, because people had started to realize that we have more in common than we did that was different. And so my writing, once I realized that I can inspire people and communicate people and share my life story, I just went on a rampage as it relates to writing. In 7th grade, well, let's add a 4th strike. I know in baseball, like a 4th is like walking or whatever. But, in middle school, I had a challenge because my dad, who passed last year, he was an activist. And during my middle school years, he went to an African country called Zambia, and they tried to assassinate him. And so my hero was out of my life for a good portion of my early middle school years, which led me to completely zone out of school and got held back my 7th grade year. And then, he came back, they bashed his head in with a crowbar. He was in a coma. It was intense. But he came back and, gave me some motivation to really go forward. And so for me, once I realized I had a choice, once I realized I could control my circumstances, the kid who went from getting kept back because I had 27 F's on my report card out of 35 grades, because we had gym, I passed gym because I balled. I'm nice. I'm still nice. I challenge any of you when I come out there. I went from that situation to graduating as a member of the National Honor Society. I went from that situation of people telling me that I'll be dead or incarcerated before the age of 25 to going to study at colleges and universities, Morehouse College, Tufts University, Harvard University, Princeton, MIT, and several schools overseas. Doctorate from the University of Maryland. I think I'm the only person in the world with a PhD in Jay-Z, actually. I teach a course on Jay-Z at American University. Come check it out if you're in DC, you can audit that joint. And I use my writing to create poetry and hip hop and motivational albums. I've produced 8 CDs to date, produced several books as well. And this kid who was told he was never gonna come out the hood, I was able to travel to over almost 30 countries. And I've had my work televised in over 150 countries, in places like CNN and Fox News and MSNBC and BET and all of these places. Am I saying this to impress you? No. I'm saying this to impress upon you that when you decide to stay on mission, when you decide to block out all of the negativity that has been placed upon you, when you decide that you are going to bring out your greatness that's in you when other people are not, the world is going to open up for you, just as the world is opening up for you right now with an incredible program like this that you chose to be a part in. What I want to do with you right now is I want to share you 4 simple steps of what you need to continually do to take yourself to the next level. I love to say that next level people do next level things. And so I want to talk about some next level things that you could be doing, because I've been able to do a lot of incredible things, speaking in front of the United Nations, meeting people like Oprah and all of these things. But to be quite honest, I believe that if I was your age and I started incorporating these steps at that age, the stuff I'd be able to do now would be on some next level stuff. So I know all of the things that I'm doing right now are just scratching the surface compared to what you are going to be able to do, taking advantage of a program like this and really committed to living your best life. The first thing I want you to think about is the word give. And you can say it to yourself, you can say it out loud, just that word give, right? What I want you to think about when it comes to give is that regardless of your circumstances, you have to remember that all of us have an opportunity to give back to the world. I don't care if you don't have $1 to your name. I don't care if you're a multimillionaire. You have to remember that giving is living. Everybody can share something. The more you give to the world, the more it's going to give to you. Conversely, the more you take from the world, the more it's going to take from you. One of the things I've learned in studying Jay-Z is that one of the reasons that he's more than just Beyonce's wife, okay? Just saying. You know how people take my class will say, I'm only here because I want to know why he cheated on Beyonce. I'm like, seriously? You fail. But one of the reasons why he gives so much back to the community, one of the reasons why he starts scholarships fund and the like is because he says, Amina, that I don't know if I can ever make up for what I did as a drug dealer and a criminal in my community. And so he is focused, Jocelyn, on giving and giving as much as he can to try to change his community. That's why he has scholarship funds. That's why he's working on building wells. That's why he helps get fathers out of jail, because he didn't grow up with his father and the like. So the question becomes, Robert and Kelsey, what can you give? What can you give back? Can you go back to your high school and share a few words? Can you go back to your middle school and let people know what you're doing, what you're becoming? That's giving, that's service. There's no financial attachment to that. That's just a little bit of commitment to a thing we call time. One of the things I learned studying Jay-Z and a lot of these other rappers, Jay-Z growing up in the Marcy Projects, he said, one of the problems I had growing up in the projects was that if people ever left the projects and became doctors or lawyers or welders like Callista, right? I never knew, because they never came back and showed us something else. You can be that person to do that. Dr. King said everybody can be great because everybody can serve. And another great quotation I love is that, service is the rent that we pay for our presence on this planet. And so we have to ask ourselves, are some of us behind on our rent? I want you to ask yourself, Megan and Joseph, what can you do to serve more? If you're a religious person, what can you do more in your mosque, in your synagogue, in your church? If you're just involved if you're involved in work in the community, what could you do more? Everybody can do something. The success that you're having in a program like this, in my opinion, it obligates you to go back to your community and making sure that you are letting people know of programs like this and other opportunities for people younger who are not yet old enough to be part of this program. I can't do that. Everybody can do something. So that is the first step. All of you all, and you need to be doing this forever. What I mean by that is, as you continue to rise, you need to, there are some people who, as they climb the ladder, Sonia, right, they'll kick out the ladder once they get to the top to make sure that nobody else can climb that ladder. That's not what Jobs for Michigan Youth is all about. What about if Jobs for Michigan graduates? Well, what if they decided, well, we've already graduated about 1,000 people. We're good, got some good reputation now. Why don't we just stop here, right? That doesn't make any sense. The more opportunities you all get, the more opportunities you need to provide for others. So no matter what your circumstances are, always know that you have the opportunity and the ability to give something back to someone at some time. Now, the next step is personal, but it's also professional. The next step is release. And Leah, Tiffany, all y'all out there, y'all can say it out loud. You can say it to yourselves. You got to release. Look, if you want to take yourself to the next level, you have to be willing to let it go and let them go. All right, let's talk about it, Ashley. First, right, you got to let it go. What I mean by that is that you got to learn to practice the process of forgiveness. Wait a minute, is my swag showing here? I really like this shirt, I'm just saying. I like the hoodie too, but it's too hot right now. So, just thank you for this. There we go, much better. So you have to learn the concept and practice of forgiveness. You have to learn to let things go so that you can grow. All of us have been hurt tremendously at some point in our lives. But if you walk around carrying that hurt, you're preventing yourself from moving forward. I was watching a documentary called The Secret, and it said in the documentary that you have in your car a larger windshield and a smaller rear view mirror. It's so you can spend more time looking forward and less time looking backwards. You see, if you're looking in your rear view mirror all the time, you're going to crash. And so you have to remember, life is about looking forward. You have to learn to use your past as a place of reference, but not a place of residence. So whatever you've had to deal with, whether it's a parental issue, a drug abuse issue, an abuse issue, whatever it is, it made you stronger. and made you who you are today. And you have to understand that nobody gives you anything that you can't deal with. No, it doesn't mean you deserve it. No, it doesn't mean that in any way, shape, or form. No, but what it means that if you woke up and you're breathing today, it means you're stronger than you know. And I have a philosophy that I love to say, no quit, no surrender. And I like to say, if there's no test, there's no testimony. And so you've been tested, and now it's time for that testimony, Sharon, you know what I mean? So I just feel like really at the end of the day, letting it go is something you need to let go so you can grow. And here's the thing, the people who hurt you, if they're even alive right now, they are nowhere even thinking about you. They're probably at the club right now, don't even got a mask on, doing like a two-step or something, not even thinking about you, like, yo, how can I get to that 50 concert in Texas? What's he doing in Texas anyway? And if y'all don't know who 50 is, congratulations. But you know, it's just like, I want to be, no, then you're the last person on their mind. So why give them power? Do whatever you need to do to release that, whether it's through therapy, psychological services, whatever it is, you deserve it. You are worth it. Now, that moves me to the second part of release. Yes, Danny, you have to learn to let them go. Release. What I mean by that is, as the great philosopher Will Smith said, you are a direct reflection of your 5 closest friends. I was trained by a guy who is a legend in Michigan by the name of Les Brown, and he taught me that as well. You have to learn to let people go who don't represent where you want to go. There may have been some people who you were down with who are involved in this program and said, nah, I really can't get with it anymore. I really want to do this. I really want to do that. And maybe they may not be making the best of their situation right now. But you said to yourself, Javin, that, you know, I'm going to stick with this. And now look at that. You're surrounded by like-minded people, all willing to bring out their greatness and do their work, Christian. You have to understand that every negative person you keep in your life prevents a positive person, a positive energy to come into your life. I'm glad you're feeling Les Brown Lupe too as well. Great guy, right? You're preventing them from coming into your life. You know how they say, like, one bad apple can spoil a whole bunch? One rotten person can spoil your whole life. So why surround yourself with people who aren't dedicated academically to their lives, who aren't dedicated to their professional growth? You don't owe them anything. It was somebody who said that you have to learn to let them go, just grow like a tree. And you know, like the higher the tree grows, more leaves and branches and stuff start to fall off. That's how it is. Some of us are going to be like, yo, I ain't messing with you no more. I'm on some other stuff right now. You got to bounce. Some of you don't even have to say that. All you got to do is just start bringing out your greatness, manifesting your greatness, and those folks are going to fall off. You know who's a great example to look at this? A lot of professional athletes and a lot of professional musicians. A lot of these, not a lot, many of these guys who come from, not all of them do, but some come from very dangerous, crime-ridden, drug-infested circumstances. And as they rise to the top and start to get famous, they have trouble getting rid of their entourage. And so as they get these record deals or these NBA, NFL, hockey, whatever contracts, they still have that entourage around them. And sometimes it's their man in the car who has the drugs, and they don't even know it. And then before they know it, they get arrested and their career's over, or they're losing endorsement deals and all that other type of stuff. You have to learn to let these people go, because what matters at the end of the day is you. It reminds me of a show I used to watch called Home Improvement, where this guy, he had Tim Allen, he had a wife and kids and everything, but his friend was still out there in the club, biking and getting into bar fights and stuff. So Tim would talk to his friend Wilson, who's the guy with the hat. You never see his face or anything. It was kind of creepy. But he would ask him, like, I don't know what to do with this guy. He's coming around. I'm not living that life anymore, but he's been my best friend for 20 years. And you know what Wilson said to him? And you have to ask yourself this question. He said, has he been your best friend for 20 years? Or was he your best friend 20 years ago? How many of y'all are the same person you were 10 years ago? 5 years ago? Last week? Aaron Hernandez brought up as an example as well. Let them go so you can grow. Which leads me to the next step, what you can say to yourself or out loud. Overcome. You got to learn to overcome your fears. Zig Ziglar said that fear is F-E-A-R, and it just means false evidence appearing real. Most of the things you worry about are not going to happen. And if you surround yourself by people who keep you fearful, you are never going to reach your greatness. You have to remember, at the end of the day, if I ask all of you all, I can't see all y'all, but I'm going to play a little magic trick with you all right now. Everybody just do me a favor. Don't point at the screen. I want you to point at yourself right now. I want you to point at yourself right now. In 3, 2, 1. I'm going to wager that most of y'all are pointing at your heart and not your head. Why? And not all of us, there's some outliers out there, Deborah, it's just how it is sometimes. But why is that? Because instinctively in life, you're supposed to follow your heart, but your mind is going to trick you. Your mind is going to say, I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to date that person. I got to do that. But your heart's going to tell you what you want to do. And what's at the root of the word heart is the word hear. Are you hearing what your heart is telling you? And then the last step after overcoming that fear is you have to win. You have to develop a winning mentality, believing that you will win if you do not give in. You have the ability to do that. When other people are telling you that you can't, you have to realize that 1,000 people can tell you that you can't, but all you need is one reason to tell you why you can. And then that one turns into 2. And then that 1,000 people turns into 999. And then you keep working the balance. And so when you take that give, you take that release, you take that overcome, Jeff, you take that W, that spells out grow. And life is about not just going through experiences, it's about growing through experiences. I wrote the book and did a CD called Grow Towards Your Greatness, because really at the end of the day, you have to decide to grow. And the things that I'm doing right now, the people that I'm working with right now, it's because when people told me that my circumstances cannot be controlled, I made the same decisions that you all make and are making, and it took me to another level. Now, let me just say this really quickly, because I do want to end with a poem, but I also want to get with some questions and answers from you all as well. I will say this, as you all are building your careers, this is one thing I love about you all. See, y'all may not notice, but you're kind of getting a jump on things in life that a lot of older adults have not learned, unfortunately. See, you're putting yourself in a situation right now where you can actually kind of pick your career, kind of design what you want to do, which is great because your generation has been predicted to have like over 7 jobs. I'm sure your time is up. You can design what you want to do. You can create your own business. You can create your own company. You can start whatever you want to do. You don't have to go by the normal rigmarole of what other people say. Don't get caught up in the rat race, because look, I got news for you. At the end of the day, if you win the rat race, you're still a rat. So here's the thing. You have to remember that, okay, maybe I'm going to do the school thing. Maybe I'm going to do the travel thing. Maybe I'm going to stay with this job and take it over one day. You can do that. But a lot of other young people your age are not learning that lesson. They're learning that they have to stick with this particular career path. They don't know how to make a switch. Look, when I was in grad school, I wanted to be an ambassador. But then I went down a different direction. I wanted to work for the State Department. But then I went down a different direction and decided to focus on my own business. And you know what? It comes around, because you know what? Now the State Department is my client. Now I contract them and go wherever I go with them to do programs overseas, just like this. You might see me in like Benin with like this on, working it out. Trust me. If you see me like, I'm taking this and I'm going to put it on the gram, you will see that. Because I decided on my own life design. My wife has a master's degree from Harvard, a master's degree from Boston University, public health, public policy. She went and did the international affairs life, Krista, for a long time and didn't really like to do it anymore. Fell in love with this thing called hot yoga, Bikram yoga, hot yoga. It's very hot. And now runs her own studios. Left that world because she decided that this was more fulfilling. You have to make sure that you're designing a life that is fulfilling. Don't be afraid to say, well, I've been doing this job for so long, but this is making me have passion right now. Go towards the passion. You have to remember that your career is what you're paid for, but your calling is what you're made for. And what your job is in your life is to find your calling and make it your career. Do what we would do if we lived in a world where we didn't need money, but just do it so that people pay you for it. Because, they say money isn't everything, but it's like right up there with oxygen. Like when you got to have it, you got to have it. So, I wanted to make sure I shared that with you. And I also wanted to make sure that I was taking some time to open it up for questions, so we can make sure that we do that. I see some things going on in the chat, but I obviously haven't had a chance to check it. So I'm going to open it up if there are any questions for me. And if not, that's fine. Don't worry. I got things to say for days. But I just want to make sure I give everybody a chance to share if they wanted to. Oh, I see a question. Krista is asking me, what is the hardest thing about my job? The hardest thing about my job is meeting people who refuse to open their eyes, people who are not as motivated as I am, people who don't see the value of life and are more concerned with their complaints than their successes. People who don't see, and I've been there, so it's not like I'm mad at them or I hate them, or anything like that. But that's the biggest challenge, to see greatness in somebody else and they don't see it in themselves, and you don't have the opportunity to work with them because maybe you live in a different place or you're traveling or whatever, and you're just like, oh, if you could just see what I see. That's the hardest challenge for me. And I've been very successful in being able to get some people to open their eyes and see that they could do something different with their lives. But when you don't feel like you have an opportunity to do that with everybody, I will say that would be the hardest part, because I want everybody to just see their greatness. I want everybody to be motivated. And it's not about whether you get to the top of the mountain. It's about, do you want to die at the bottom of the mountain or on the side of the mountain trying to get to the top, right? Too many people are at the bottom just looking up at people. I don't want y'all to be that. I want y'all to be at least working to get to the top of the mountain. And they say it's lonely at the top, but guess what? You eat better. So, there's that. Anybody else? Great question. Thank you for that one. I see.
Yeah. You can hear me, huh?
I can hear you.
All right. Excellent. First and foremost, that was excellent. That was a great address, and I appreciate being able to be being able to listen to you address us.
Thank you.
Secondly, you talked about your struggling with the bullying, as well as the not being accepted and want to kind of abbreviate your name just for the sake of, how people are treating you.
Yep.
Well, as a teen, so those are tough things that you had to deal with, but as a teen, what was the most difficult obstacle that you had to deal with, and how did you overcome that?
Great question. And Emmy, I see your question. I'm coming to you next. The sense of hopelessness. I'm going to be very honest with you all. When I talked about the thing going on with my dad and all of that other stuff, I was suicidal. I was ready to check out. And I'm not even joking. And I was at a conference, similar to this, and I heard a speaker say that suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And I started asking myself the question, like, if I just kind of keep going, can life get better? So my biggest challenge was the culmination of all of those strikes I mentioned earlier, plus my dad being out of the picture, who was my hero. And I was just like, I'm not worthy of being here. And so overcoming that was when I realized my dad, when he came back, he suffered a little bit of amnesia, right? And so he didn't realize that he made me go to this school, and I had an opportunity to change my, this is when I talk about release. I had an opportunity to go back to an underperforming school on our school assignment thing, the way Boston works. And so, but I said, I have a choice. I can go back to that school, or I can go back to this other school that my friends didn't, where my friends who didn't get into this challenging school were, but I chose to go the hard route. So that was what helped me overcome it. But I will also say this, also learning about my history and culture helped me overcome a lot of these problems. Some people find religion, some people find a job, some people find other people. Finding my history that I wasn't getting in school, and it gave me motivation to want to do my ancestors proud, and to not embarrass them anymore by not doing well in school. And that also helped push me to make a change in my life. And so Emmy asks, what was your favorite country or state that you went to? South Africa, hands down, no question about it, for several reasons. One, as a child, my parents had us fighting to free Nelson Mandela since I was like 7 years old. So I was out like holding posters and stuff to free him. So when I got an opportunity to go there to perform and go there to study as a student, I've actually been to South Africa 8 times. As a performer, as a student, as a vacationer. I got engaged in South Africa, proposed at the bottom of a mountaintop. I got like a picture of it and all that stuff. It's pretty cool. So yeah, South Africa is just that spot. I would go to South Africa like for lunch if I could. I just love the place. There's so much history there. So yeah, and so I highly recommend South Africa. Let's see, Jocelyn. What was your, same place, same question. What advice would you give to your younger self? Watch the company you keep. Take care of your health, because there's no point in having success if you don't have your health. Know your history. Yeah, that's what I would say to my younger self. Because you can't lead if you don't read. Like if you don't know stuff. When I tell when my students come to class the first day of campus, I tell them, I don't care what you think about anything. I care about how you think. I mean, look at how the media is now, right? All of us are in our media bubbles. We get all of our information from like one source, CNN, Fox News, Lil Nas X, like all of these different places, we get our information from. So we created a bubble where we don't go looking for information. We go looking for affirmation for people who think like us. That's not how you build intellect. That's not how you become successful. So you have to make sure that you're doing that you're reading, that you're engaging in conversations with people who don't think like you. That's how you grow. But there's an incentive structure right now for people who want to keep themselves in their own bubble. But if you want to be great, that can't be you. That can't be you. How do you stay positive when your family is making things hard for you? I suffer from depression, anxiety, anorexia, and it's hard to do things when my family makes it worse. Programs like this, and I am not, Krista, gonna disrespect your experience by saying I had it just like that, because you may have had it 10 times worse than I did. I don't know, and I would never disrespect you like that. But what I do know is that I'm looking at 74 participants here. I'm looking at more, I was told that there are more people who are in rooms right now watching. And so what that means to me is that there are more people who are surrounding you, ready to build you up and fortify you and take you to your next level. And those people are eventually going to outnumber your family. But I know you may live with your family and that becomes more of a challenge when you have to go home to a certain thing. But every single day you're creating an opportunity to build on that independence. So we have to figure out ways to move from that experience we're having of those to the positive experiences that we're having like this. And as we increase those day by day, things can start to get better for you. I believe if that was not the case, you would not be here right now. And so I believe that every single day, your problems will lead to possibilities, your trials will lead to testimonies, and your obstacles will lead to opportunities. And I applaud you for taking advantage of that every single day. I think that I have to end now. I see more questions. I have a poem that I want to share. How did I overcome the bullying that I had? I'm sorry, I have to answer this question. I overcame the bullying by realizing that not only was I great in terms of my history, but I realized that if I shared more about my own experiences with them, because people who are ignorant bully, and hurt people. And once I realized that I could show them that we had more things in common than we did that were different, a lot of the bullying stopped. So I will say this, Daniel and Sonia, if you want, you can create a list of all of the questions and send them to me, and I'll create a video and answer all of the questions I didn't get to answer right now. If you want to do that, because I can answer these questions for like an hour. But I'm respectful of time. So I want to end with a poem so I can stay on your schedule. I want to thank you for this. If anybody does anything in the online space, you can reach me at @Omekongo, just my first name. Feel free, we can stay in touch that way. You can subscribe to the YouTube and we can stay in touch that way. Anything I can do to help be of service to you all, because I am you. I just want to be there. So just let a brother know. When you come to DC, holler at me as well. Come take a yoga class with us or something, But this poem I share with you all, entitled Grow Towards Your Greatness. They say that greatness is a choice. But what have you chosen? You've been frozen in time and broken in mind. For too long, the same song playing in your head. Living in breath, but better off dead. But who said that you didn't have the power? Who said this is not your hour? You've been showered with a steady stream of words that kill your dreams. But since you're still breathing, then someone has lied to you, tried to deny you of your own potential inside you. If you just decide to, let no one deride you. Don't even let them get beside you as you unearth the new you. Stop listening to naysayers and decide to do you. No more pity parties, sob stories, and boo-hoos. If no one told you that you're great, then let me be the first to. If you develop the thirst to drink from Faith's fountain, you'll develop the might to move mountains. You see, we remove tons of dirt to find 1 ounce of gold. So I ask you to remove tons of hurt and just uncover 1 ounce of your soul. You'll set yourself on a true path of excellence, getting out of your passenger seat and driving your own car, reaching for the moon, but maybe only landing among the stars. You see, you have greatness inside you, but you must choose to be great. Blaze a path of excellence, leaving fear in your wake. All you need is already inside you. You just must believe in yourself. Grow towards your greatness and discover your true wealth. Thank you very much. I appreciate you all giving me this time to speak with you.
Wow, no, thank you, Dr. Dibinga. This was phenomenal. And you can look no further than the chat to know that everyone on agrees with me. There were many times I was writing down exactly what you said because it resonated in my life. And I'm sure that's the same for others. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So now we have a big moment, the winner of the tablet prize drawing. So we took all of the names that were entered in, and Kelsey worked some magic behind the scenes with a spinner that automatically selects one winner. So, you know, drum roll in your classrooms or in your homes. And the winner of the tablet this year is Kane Weldon from Odyssey. So congratulations to Kane on your new tablet. And then we'll work with you behind the scenes to get that your way. Thanks one more time to Dr. Dibinga for your powerful and inspiring message. It was just phenomenal to be a part of the session today. And we'll continue with the inspiration. Now I'm happy to introduce Barbara Anderson, the board chair for the Youth Solutions Board of Directors, to talk about our Youth of the Year awards. And Barb, if you are on and speaking, you may be on mute.
There, I figured out how to unmute.
Perfect.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Barb Anderson, and I have the pleasure of serving as chair of the Youth Solutions Board. And thank you, Dr. Dibinga, for your motivational words. We're all inspired to be our greatest. I too took notes and hope to get to the next level and grow. I really appreciate your acronym of give, release, overcome, and win. It's very meaningful to me in my life as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Each year, Youth Solutions recognizes 3 outstanding young adults through our Youth of the Year awards. This year, we received 16 nominations, and every one of these young adults embodies the Youth Solutions values of leadership, collaboration, and a solutions-focused mindset. They've pushed through tough times and stayed focused on their goals. The committee had a very hard time selecting the winners this year. This past year, the pandemic added another significant barrier for young people. In light of this, we felt it was only right to recognize every nominee this year. Those who were not chosen as the Youth of the Year will receive an exemplary youth certificate and recognition on social media. You can see these deserving youth on the slide. Our 3 Youth of the Year recipients will also receive a framed certificate, a $50 Amazon gift card, and some JMG swag. Additionally, our Alumnus of the Year will be invited back next year to judge the event competitions and recognize the new winners. To announce the 3 winners, I'm honored to introduce Natasha Rizanka, a 2018 JMG Alumna of the Year and current member of our Youth Advisory Council. Welcome, Natasha.
Thank you, Barb. It is truly my honor to recognize the outstanding Youth of the Year this year. When I was struggling in school, the JMG program helped me find my purpose and set a course to my future. It made a positive change in my life, and I'm grateful to be here today, celebrating these amazing young people. The first award for the JMG class of 2021, representing our in-school program, goes to Crystal Steele, an honors student, athlete, and JMG Career Association historian from Hartford High School. Crystal is a highly skilled leader, delegating tasks and fostering student buy-in. She ran fundraisers and blood drives and was always first to volunteer and the last to leave any event. Despite living on her own and supporting herself, Crystal showed up with a positive attitude, never letting her challenges deter her from her goals. Crystal is here with us today, and as we get her on screen to say a few words, let's give her a round of virtual applause. Congratulations, Crystal. They hear me yet?
Yeah, they should.
Oh, my bad. Thank you.
Can you hear us okay?
Oh, that's yes. Okay. I would like to say thank you so much for this amazing opportunity. I've been a part of the JMG family for most of my high school career. And it means a lot to me. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And it means a lot to me to have made a positive difference through this program. Truly, thank you for the award. It's an honor.
Just backtrack slowly.
Proud of you, Crystal.
Thank you. All right. Second, representing our out-of-school programs, the award goes to Amari McKinney from the Bridge Academy in Benton Harbor. Amari is busy, recently completing her courses to graduate, participating in a number of JMG events and school activities, all while holding down 2 jobs. Coming to the program somewhat hesitant, she now credits JMG with showing her the life skills and the attitude necessary to succeed. She has become passionate about entrepreneurship, advocacy, and teaching other young people in her community how to make better financial choices. She has an internship lined up for the summer and plans to enroll in college studying business. Congratulations, Amari, and let's give her a virtual round of applause as well.
Well, I'll accept it for her unless Julie is on, but I know.
I am on.
All right, go for it, Julie.
Amari could not be here today because she's incredibly busy and she's actually at work and her boss was going to let her get on, but she was too busy working away. I could not be more proud of this kid, and she is very, very grateful for JMG and for every one of you for setting the bar very high for her and setting a good example. So thank you so much.
All right, and our third and final award goes to our Alumna of the Year. Being a past winner of this award was a true validation that my hard work paid off. It also motivated me to keep pushing toward my goals because I knew I could do it. It is my honor to announce that Melanie Gunn from Michigan Works Southwest Kalamazoo County Out of School Program is our Alumna of the Year. In her early teens, Melanie had to cope with a difficult tragedy, losing her friend to suicide. It caused her to lose focus and eventually drop out of school. Finding her way back to education, she has worked hard to pass all of her tests, becoming the first person in 3 generations of her family to return to school and graduate. She epitomizes the best of JMG with her diligence, resilience, and her sense of community, making crafts to raise money for charities, supporting voter registration, or participating in a walk for the homeless. Melanie is in the running for an early childhood education internship, and we have no doubt she will succeed. Melanie couldn't be with us today, but her specialist, Deborah James, will accept on her behalf. Let's give her a virtual round of applause.
Thank you so much. Actually, she was in the running for that internship. She was awarded it, and that's where she is. She's been pretty busy with that. But she did send me an email last night and asked if I would accept on her behalf. She wanted to say that she has been working really hard for the last year and a half to secure a more stable and positive future for herself. And receiving an award like this means a great deal to her, and it's just a reflection of the hard work that she's put in. She just wanted to say thank you very much. This means a lot to her. Thank you so much.
All right, everyone. Well,
Congratulations.
oh, yeah, thank you. Please continue, Natasha.
I was just going to say congratulations again to all of our winners.
Yes, congratulations. This was just such a phenomenal session, and we're so grateful to all of you for being here with us virtually. Congratulations to our winners and the specialists who have dedicated so much time to ensuring their success. Thank you to everyone else who was on the call today. This does conclude the session. Thank you again to Dr. Dibinga for an uplifting talk. Let's all go be upstanders, not bystanders. Take care, everybody.